Good morning. It is Sunday, June 13th, 9 a.m. The rain finally just passed. We've been rained out since 4 o'clock this morning. We're about the middle-ish or almost to the middle of the property, and you can see how thick things were. We did not know where to start. Okay, this is one opening where squatters were hanging out and having their little parties. Okay, we're gonna walk down to the east side of the property. You can see the light now. So it's pretty thick. I don't really want to walk through that thickness over there because after the rain there's lots of mosquitoes. And when you're in the thick of the forest, they get you. We call them vampires now. They've eaten us alive and we're still here. See all of that? That's all lily koi vine. There's a lot of it. I'm sure you've seen other areas like that in previous videos. Okay, this is about the area that we cleared too. Okay, and if we look, you can see a bit of a clearing there. Okay, that's some of our living area, but it was open in the front when we cut down a few of the trees behind it. Just gonna walk along the front line. There's not much to say. Not yet. We have some new coconut, and I think we're gonna leave those ones along the front. We'll probably just cut some of the invasive stuff around it. Okay, back, I don't know if we can see it. Let's zero in. Yeah, you can see the back of, that looks like our kitchen tent, or the top of our kitchen tent. And we'll go in through the front way so you can see. So this right here, that right there, that's the base of the fishtail palm. We're gonna go up. They can grow about 40-50 feet tall. But if I zoom back out of it, you can see they grow in groups of 5, sometimes more. They're more like clumps. And they have these beautiful berries on them. That start out with the beads that grow, and they turn into beautiful little berries that look so delicious and edible. It's not, at least not to my knowledge. Then they turn black. If you can see in between there, you see the black ones. And they'll fall off, as this one has lost many. When they fall off, they make babies. And that's a lot of what you see all the babies down below. That's a lot of what our floor contains. As you can see down here, I'm looking at the ground. There's a whole lot of it. So in between, you will also notice some other plants. One of them is the Hawaiian raspberry, which you can see right there. Okay, I don't know what's eating the raspberry plants, but the raspberries are delicious. And from time to time, we go along the front line, just grabbing a little after-work snack. Okay, you see the young fishtail palm right there. Okay, and then we see the beads right here. There's some beads that are getting ready to flower. The rats enjoy that. And it's still hella thick in there. We have another popular invasive species, which it looks like somebody's gotten to a lot of it out front already. been cleaning and clearing in specific areas. Yeah, so just to show you, that's the curve that we just came from. And these videos are more for observation as well as tracking our progress. You can see our tent right there and all the open space behind it. That's where we've cleared already. Now, if you remember in the beginning, when we started this farm, we actually obtained the property on April 9th, and we were coming out only on Sundays. Now we camp out for the weekends. We decided that we weren't going to cut anything that was native. Most of the native plants that have been removed from the work areas have been replaced in other areas so that they can thrive, and at such a time that we're done clearing and planting, when we work in the next area of the farm, we will be propagating the native plants and giving them away to other people who wish to restore our environment. Okay, so one of the things we did with the invasives that we cut was to make a brush wall. And pardon me for a second. Morning! Okay, we're gonna go around my car. Oh, look at this. I think we hit the jackpot with those berries. Okay. Look at that berry. It's just delicious. They're really sweet. It's kind of like having fresh gummy bears. Then you see this right here. That mossy looking stuff. It is moss actually. But that's primary life. It's the first thing that grows before plants and soil became. That was the first thing that grew. And right now, we are literally outside my tent, although you can't see that. So we have a lot of the mossy stuff down here in our plants. And I can't really see it on the screen, so I hope that you can. But I will go in close. That is so beautiful. It's like a thick carpet. And you see the plants are thriving all around it. So moving along, I can show you a baby Hawaiian raspberry. Look at that. So adorable. Okay, so these are invasive. These are inkberries. They're also invasive, but they're also very useful. They grow tall, thin stalks, like that one right there. Those stalks are hella strong. We're going to remove all the smaller ones. The larger ones, when we remove them, we will use them in fence making. These logs, so there's a coconut log there, and there's an African tulip log there. We will use the logs in areas where we need bigger barriers. There's no sense in throwing all that stuff away and then going out to buy something to replace it with. So, yeah, so this is the driveway that we cut. If I zoom back out, you can see Uncle Lambert in the distance there. This is the driveway that we cut. If you remember in our first video, this was all saplings. It was so thick that you couldn't walk through it. We had to cut our way through it. And this is the beginning of our property. Okay, if you see these tags on the road, respect. Uncle's come up here and he's been volunteering his time since May. He's been volunteering every weekend to help us clear the areas. So this wants to be a future planting, and we have some more prep to do there. All of this, if you remember in the first video, there was just a few sticks in that pile. It went as tall as 1 story high, and now that some of the things are dying down, you know, the compost pile drops, all of that will be mulched and used. Once it's chipped down, we're going to use that as a ground covering so that we don't have exposed soil. And once again, if you remember, these areas that look like blacktop, that's actually where the lava is, the lava rock is exposed. Okay, no, it's not hot. There hasn't been any volcanic eruptions over here for hundreds of years. But the earth is still young. Okay, I can't go any smaller. So this is the brush wall that we initially created and showed you. It serves very well for a fence line, and it keeps the dog in. And Nosy Nilly's out. Hi, Uncle, you're on camera. So this area down this fence line side is going to be a coconut grove. Uncle, I found new baby coconuts along the front.
Yeah, get plenty.
Yeah, I'm going to leave those ones.
We'll have to get you can go get it if you like. You gotta dig them out.
I think I might ask them and do it.
Fucking hell, fucking so much fucking coconut.
Do you want to tell?
They're all close together. No, I'm good.
Okay.
They're all close together.
Yeah, I'm going to leave them along the front line too, so then that way you have easy access to all of them.
Doesn't matter where they are, it's just not on top. I get
them. In the canner. And we're on camera, so let's not have that conversation. So when we find, there's plenty of rocks all over the place, and sorry for those interruptions. When we find the rocks, we keep them local to where they were. All of these rocks came literally from the area around this tree. This is the tree that you heard me refer to many times as Buddy. Buddy stays, and apparently those branches up there are staying too for a while. We've tried to get them down. We've had humans stuck up in the tree, but the branch doesn't come down. It is what it is. There goes our path back again to what's going to be known as Kong Grove. And that's going to be our coconut grove going down to where Ko'ua is sitting. Ko'ua, wave to the camera. Okay. So all of that area back to where he's sitting is going to be all coconuts and papaya. Okay. And then if I can continue to enlarge. In our first videos, it took like 15 minutes to get back to that cane grass because, let's zoom back out so you can see again, because this pathway was not cleared. And it looked very much like what I showed you when we were walking in the front of the property. This whole property looked like that. So you can see the work area. We got a lot of the tree stumps down. Uncle went cut the trees a couple weeks ago. Those were all African tulip. They do not belong here. They're invasive, very invasive. And then we'll be working in that cane grass area next week. And there's an opening. And let me zoom back out. There is an opening back in that area in front of Sister. So Sister is the same tree as Buddy. And yes, if you're from my generation, you would know that we got those names from my buddy and kid sister. Anyway, we showed you this area. It was a brush dome at one point. It got overwhelmed when some trees fell over it. So the brush dome is coming down, and that will soon be a vine dome when our fencing gets in, our chicken wire. And we'll build an arch over there, and we'll just dome the whole thing. We're at the entrance of the campsite. It's a bit of a mess because we were rained out since 4 a.m. We actually got rained out last night too. So it's a little messy. We're getting new supplies, new amenities. So as we work on things, yeah, that shape shifting, it's not too bad though. And here we go again with that primary life. I can stare at this all day. I don't even want to touch it. I mean, I can, but I don't want to disturb it. I just could stare at it and study life. This is the end of our fence line. If you notice where the tree is, that's where the brush has been cut. We only have this one piece here has been, it's holding a lot, so we can't cut that any shorter, but the rest of it is trimmed to that line. Here's an area, because of the vines and the bird's nest above, we can't necessarily work on fixing this. You can I zero into that? Yeah, that looks like my hair when I wake up. So we're not necessarily going to work too much in this area for the time being, and it's about the size of a walk-in closet. It's containers, all containers in there, the glass jars that I save so that we can use for other items, like food. Okay, we now have a firewood stack location. Okay, and it generally stays pretty dry unless there's a big rain. We're gonna build our firewood organization probably later today. And if you look back, there's a bit of facilitation going on back there. Okay, so do I have to zoom back out? We got a bunch of new lights, and so you'll notice periodically they'll be posted around. This is our break station. So we have lotion, hand sanitizer, cold water for drink. We do have another water dispenser for hand washing, and that's supposed to be our hand washing station, but right now it's a dirty dish station, and the hand washing container was just emptied for other reasons. We don't have running water yet, so it can be a struggle. But if you saw a few minutes ago, we do keep plenty jugs of water all over the place, just to make sure we have enough. This is our dog care container, and I'll take you into the dog's area. If you look back behind this tree, okay, that's the dog's area for now. He's actually going to, his dog house is being built, so while we work on that, he's got a little area to rest in, but generally he stays with my daughter in her tent. He doesn't really like too many people, but he loves her. So that's our tent. And you can see our kitchen back there. We did see it from the roadside earlier, but you couldn't see through the brush. And if you'll notice, we have our little lights throughout. They light the pathway. Okay, Leilani, say hi. You're on camera. So I'm just showing. I'm showing off our living quarters for the time being, and behind my daughter there, that's the portable camping toilet. They're pretty cool. So you can buy bags that specifically work for that, or you can just line it with a trash bag so that you can tie up your waste and get rid of it. Okay, so we've seen this lily koi jungle before. Excuse me. We can see this, we've seen this one before. And the floor area is being cleaned out. This will be the site of our real kitchen or our upgraded tent kitchen. We're going to go in stages. We don't really want to desecrate the land with any actual buildings. So we'll see. I mean, eventually a building's going to have to go up. But we want to make sure that it's not invading the nature. Because if you look at the soil, it's rich, black, and full of nutrients. You see all the fishtail pond babies. in the area. And if you look in our campsite area, like specifically on the trail, we've cleaned a lot of that out. Okay, we did walk in that area from the street. That's where we came from. And we have a long way to go. This area has been cleaned out heavily. We work on it a little bit in each trip. Have to make sure that I don't trip over our roots or step on our native species. Okay, and those babies will be put in pots in a nursery to be given to someone else who wants to restore the environment. And this is an example of why we, even in the more clear areas, have a hard time walking through. I should actually just try to walk through it and take you into it. I think maybe we will. As we get further down, you see there's a fishtail palm down. Needs to be cleaned up. You can see the open areas. So this is probably a squatter spot right there. This is a pig trail over here. You can tell the pig trails because they're small and the ground is sloppy. Or you could tell the pigs were running through them. So when you try to walk through, you can tell the areas where we've been because something has been cut. Okay. And then you can tell the areas where we didn't walk because you can't walk. You literally have to cut your way through. And then we have lots and lots of these vine walls. Okay. Oh, and then you can see our cowboy. Cowboy!
Go over there. Go over there. I don't want to step in your shit again. Move.
Come here, boy. Uh-oh. Sounds like cowboy want doo-doo in the workspace. Okay. This is another love of my life. Do you see that rock? It pours the moisture. So when they say rocks don't hold water, they lied. You just looked at it. Rocks do hold water. Here's another lava rock. Okay. It's not just wet, it holds the water inside. And how do I know? Because where we keep them, it keeps things moist. Okay. You can see back in that area where that's one of the lilikoi roots where it comes out and it spreads all among the trees above. And it just looks like a crazy nest. So we'll get to another tree where you can see that actually we can turn right around and you can see it over the kitchen. And if I zero in a little bit, you see it hanging. And we had to cut them at our height so we can walk beneath them. And look at that open area. You can see how bright that is down there. It's really interesting. So another video will come later. I just wanted to show you how we're developing our quarters where we can stay when we're here to work and what we can do with that. You can see the whole work area behind. That's where the brush dome once was that I told you we were going to make a vine dome over there. And this area, that is a vine that's hanging that we cut to walk under. But sometimes they come down. It's really neat. I feel like Avatar. I wonder if I can connect to that vine. But I believe they were referring to the roots of a banyan. And then you can see the walls that the fishtail palms create. And then the canopy sort of protects us, but when the rain does come down, it comes down a little heavier. Anyway, we'll do another video later, hopefully before we go today, and we'll let you know how our progress is making. In this video, I would like to specifically thank key people. I would like to thank Uncle Lambert. I would like to thank Uncle Lambert, who takes down the trees that need to come down, the invasive species, and Cowboy, the dog, for protecting our area. And I believe Ku'ua's in the back working somewhere. I'd like to thank him for dedicating his time, and Maui Friends of the Children's Justice Center, the Co-Fund Grant, Grant Central Station, Nicole Huguenin, Georgia Pinsky, Avi Berman, my farm family, Grace Manon, and several others that I'll mention in other videos when I explain those things. Okay, talk to you later.